Welcome to Cracked Movie Club, the show where we do a book club, but for movies, which are like books, but better. I'm your host, Jordan Breeding, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jesse and Allie. Say hello.
Wow, hello.
Hello.
That was our best
Jordan
one ever,
and I,
other than our internet being awful at the office.
Yeah, Jordan and I have picked up a communicable disease where we are as pixelated in real life as we look on your streams right now.
Yeah,
That's why you got to stay home, just like I did, who stayed at home.
Yeah, I am in the Big Apple, as they say here, all the time.
Nobody says that.
Constantly
Everyone keeps telling you to stop calling it that.
Like everybody, you know how we're in a Big Apple? They're like, stop. And I'm like,
What
the apples.
What are you gonna do? Don't say pizza. Are you gonna go see a show? Are you gonna see a museum? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go to bed at some point. I'm very tired. I am intending to film something in front of an Arby's in Manhattan.
They have Arby's other places too, you know.
Not really.
Yeah, but all the good ones are here in New York.
Well, yeah, but you got to get the footage of like, oh my god, I'm in New York. It doesn't matter. I have plans. I have things that I'm going to do. And speaking of the future, if anybody has an observation or a question or an alternate movie title, just put it in the chat and we'll talk about it later. I feel so weird because I can hear the echo around me in a way that I don't. Something about the Big Apple. It's just the acoustics are.
It's big, baby. It's got echo. It's big.
This big stupid apple sounds like crap, and the internet's bad.
Yeah, back home, Jordan's surrounded by hay and horses and other sound dampening farm staples.
He's far away in the foothills of California.
What?
Jordan's got a studio built out of horse apples.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep going because my brain is freaking out. Jesse, you want to recap it?
Yeah, do I?
Yeah.
Spoilers. So
Yeah, spoilers. So
if you have not seen, this is certainly not spoiler free, and it's a very good movie. So don't get spoiled.
Yeah,
that's my good advice.
But also don't turn off the stream. Just maybe mute us and put your phone down. No, but yeah, this is a very hard movie to describe without spoiling. But essentially, we've got a brother-sister duo who are looking after a farmhouse and a farm, a bunch of horses. And because their father, right, was mysteriously killed in broad daylight by some mysterious projectile, and they're both like trying to get to the bottom of that, but also trying to keep up their horse business. Very importantly, their horse business is like providing horses for Hollywood films and that sort of thing, and they're sort of tied back to the oldest filmed horse in history. So there's a lot of like history of TV and movies tied into all this stuff, and human, right? And so anyway, they start to notice this like high strangeness, and they're determined to get to the bottom of it and simultaneously become huge international stars for being the first people to document UFOs or UAPs or whatever the new term is. So they go about doing that through they get all kinds of like high technology and stuff, and they set it all up all over their ranch, and they go about simultaneously battling this mysterious monster. As it turns out, it's not so much a UFO as it is an actual single angry being. So they're trying to battle it and also capture it on film, and it's sort of but it is very much a horror film. It's not so much like an escape this spooky house, but it still has a lot of like really good classic horror tropes.
Right. So have you said what the UFO is? Did you actually?
I have not. It is. So how would you even describe it?
Yeah.
Big spoilers.
It's like a big dude who sucks you up. No, it's the thing is that it's alive and it's a predator, and we don't necessarily know if it's like otherworldly or not per se, but it is.
That's a good question.
It is unusual in that you've never seen it before. But basically, it's not housing aliens or anything. It itself is eating people and horses and things. And they've only noticed it for like 6 months or something like that. So it's not like it's been there since the dawn of time or something. So I think you can still assume that it's probably from another planet, but also.
Oh, interesting.
You don't necessarily.
Well, no, I thought I guess you're right. I thought there was something historic to it. Like it seemed like it was trying to touch on like these long-standing rumors about like what UFOs out in the middle of the desert are, but maybe this one in particular is pretty recent.
Well, it could have been, but even still, I don't think they would still have a horse ranch for like 5 generations if a freaking UFO's been
Oh yeah,
sucking
you're
up
just gonna
horses.
pick up and
True.
you're gonna pick up
Every-
and move your horse ranch. Okay, sure.
Well, it's like
I
every
mean,
3 days.
At
Yeah.
the very least, it has been 6 months because it is said in the movie that it has been 6 months since the untimely death of their father, who was killed by falling
nickel.
space junk, and that we learn came from the alien. Talk about a cold open. My God, what a cold open for this movie. Like I like genuinely was like jaw dropped. Like such a way to suck you in to a very strange movie, but like to start it off with just like these questions, it was great. I think that was one of my favorite openings of a movie, like maybe ever.
Can you describe the opening, because I don't remember exactly what you're talking about? Like
So-
the projectiles, or was there something before
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So like I don't even know if movies technically have the phrase cold open. That's more of like a sitcom thing. But like the part of the movie that you were introduced to even before the title is Daniel Kaluuya's character OJ is on his ranch with his father, who's kind of a difficult man who has a lot of high expectations and doesn't seem to think that OJ like lives up to said expectations. You get a really good glimpse of just like what their life is like on a day-to-day basis, which is like a lot of work and not a lot of talk. They are on a ranch. And suddenly there's like the sound of like maybe hail or something. You don't know what it is,
That's
but
what I
it's
thought it
just
was.
like ping, 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 ping,
Yeah.
ping. And when you look back over, his father has like slumped over and then falls off his horse, and it's because something like impaled him through the head, and you have no idea what it is. And then it's like revealed when they go to the hospital that it was a nickel. You're like, a nickel? What? And then he goes
So
back to
weird.
the ranch, and there's a key sticking out of the horse's butt. And then it's like, nope. And you're like, okay, I'm in. Like, what
To
an
be fair,
like what a
sometimes-
genuinely incredible start to that movie.
Well, it's like, if a key works on a car, why wouldn't it work on a horse? And you try and stick it in, and I don't think that part's weird. I don't think it's weird to stick keys in horses. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, it was.
Yeah,
very
but the
much
thing is, you don't
a
gotta
really...
you don't gotta make new holes in the horse if you're gonna put a key in.
They've got enough holes.
Well,
A
I know
horse
that
has plenty of
now.
holes. Oh, that's my
Now I know.
title. That's my title pitch, is either holes or horse got plenty of holes.
Good. Just remember those for the end.
Whole,
Gotta write 'em down.
whole horse. The whole horse.
Also, something that's fun
yeah.
about the movie is that there is a repeated use of sort of title cards as like chapter headings, so to speak. And they are a little abstract. They're not always like, like The Escape. It'll be like named after one of the horses on the ranch, or
Yeah, I feel like they were
Flash-
mainly horse
All of
names.
them were.
They were awesome. No, because one was Gordy.
They're all horse names.
Nope.
Oh, you're right. But they're all.
But they
animal
all
names, I
are
guess.
animal names, which I think sort of brings us to
Oh, right.
some of the larger themes of the movie potentially. But I just like that. Like we are fully experiencing a very confident film director just like kind of trying stuff, which like I love. I think that like we so rarely take risks on people as like, I hate using this word, it makes me sound so pretentious, like auteurs. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, but like it's like the word you know what I'm saying. Like we like there's very little like investment in people as just like people, of just being like, I don't care what it is you make, just make it. I'm like, we're excited about it, just do it. Here's some money. And so like I'm always excited when people like just have the freedom to explore, because like we kind of talked about that in Men, which honestly, the more that I think about it, the more I've decided I don't like the movie like at all. Like we talked about it like the day after I saw it, and I was like, maybe I like it, maybe I don't like it, and like in the last month I've been like, don't like it, not gonna see it again, don't like it. But I still feel very positively about Alex Garland as a person who as a person who makes movies. I did not like that movie, but like he makes such undeniable movies, and they're like so clearly his movies. And like I just feel that way too about it's just like exciting that it's like, great, another Jordan Peele movie. Let's hurry up and go.
Just Viewers, keep
Yeah,
in
I
mind
kind
that this is Ali saying you should separate the art from the artist in all cases.
Yes,
You should be able to do
in
that.
all cases, no exceptions.
Yeah.
100%.
Well,
Put
I
that on
think
my
so.
gravestone.
I feel like Jordan Peele is becoming potentially kind of akin to a Christopher Nolan, who makes more blockbustery stuff, like more accessible, like big, cool, interesting sci-fi stuff. But it is original. I mean, obviously he makes Batmans, and now he's doing Oppenheimer and stuff like that. And he did Dunkirk. I guess he doesn't do it all the time, but he does it some. And it's almost like, it's kind of that thing where it's now with Jordan Peele, it's like, well, I have to go see every movie he makes regardless, because I need the world to continue to create directors like this, so that not everything is built into a franchise. So just the fact, like Alex Garland's, like, I got to go see his movie, even if I don't like it, because I need the algorithm essentially to keep spitting out these types of movies.
Yeah. And I do feel that way. We're
Anyway,
like, now that
so-
upon
But
further
I did like this movie a lot. I'm actually, did I lag out?
Yeah, and I thought you
I
were
think
talking,
so.
and then I talked over you. I'm sorry.
I think
No,
the
it's
important thing
fine.
here is we got to go back and find other sketch comedy staples and let them start directing feature-length movies. I'm talking like
talking
Stewart
Chris
from Mad
Kattan.
TV, Chris Kattan. Well, what about who played Mrs. Swan? Let's bring them back.
Alex Bornstein. She's on Miss Maisel. She's busy.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's a shame.
That's a
But
shame.
yeah, more
What a bummer for her.
Oh, bummer for her to be on a big hit series. That's a real bummer. Yeah, I mean, like, what do we want to do? We want to just jump on in to themes? Like,
Yeah.
it's such a big movie. It's kind of
Well-
almost hard to talk about, because, like, where do you start?
Yeah.
I guess I feel like I wanted to talk through like Gordy story, because I feel like that informs a lot of the movie and is kind of the second main plot thing. Am I lagging out? I'm freaking out.
No, you're fine right
'cause you
now.
guys are lagging.
You're
You're good
okay.
now.
Okay. So just because I'm scared, I can't believe I come to the Big Apple, the big old apple, and the Wi-Fi sucks here. We're in the office.
Yeah, there's
the
tons of
internet
emails
company.
getting sent all around and through you.
Wait, were you going to say that you're? Hold on. Were you going to say that you're scared of monkeys?
No, I'm not. Although my daughter
well,
is.
great. Well, I am, and I felt really very justified watching this movie.
Yeah.
Well, you know who else is scared of monkeys is Jordan Peele. Did you see that people unearthed a tweet from like 8 years ago where he's like, I had a dream that a baby monkey killed a bunch of people and then gave me a hug and I woke up crying? Did you see
No.
that?
Wow.
I have always felt a sort of
So-
implicit mistrust for monkeys, and
Mhm.
Of Jordan
you
Peele?
know how, like,
Oh.
you're gonna get me killed. I just like
Yeah.
I don't, you know, like when your mom is like, you'll poke your eye out, and then like you poke your eye out and she's like, like, that's how I'm always like, I just don't think they know too much but not enough. It's a bad
Yeah.
combination of knowing too much but not enough. I do not trust, and so I felt really
They're so-
justified.
Yeah, they're powerful and we don't understand them. They're big and they throw tantrums. They're like babies. They're like really strong babies.
Extremely strong babies. I don't like it. So
I'm with you, man.
I mean, I
think
understand
they're
that I am
fine.
saying something that is basically the author's intent and the part of like a point of the movie, but like just specifically that it was a monkey. I just want to say I don't like them.
Sure. Yeah, and I think it did touch on a lot of like that's one thing along with like they no longer like drug teen and tween stars, but like one thing that Hollywood has sort of gotten right is they've stopped abusing animals quite so much. And that was one of the themes of the film. So they were saying even like basically the first film ever filmed was a stop motion of the guy riding the horse. And that was the brother and sister are the descendants of that guy, if I caught that correctly, right?
Yes.
So
Great,
they've got-
great grandkids.
Yeah. So they've got that horse who he wasn't necessarily like, you know, a Hollywood horse or whatever. But then you fast forward to this Hollywood monkey who wreaks havoc. And then, of course, there was that guy. He was the kid in the scene where the monkey killed everybody. He went on to go ahead and exploit this skyborn beast in some way. So we find out that he has a nearby ranch where he's inviting people to like pay a quarter to like watch him, I guess, feed a horse to the sky monster.
You know, I never really thought about what the show was going to be, and I think you are right.
Yeah, probably going to try and feed that horse, Lucky.
So,
I
think the whole thing is that the horse is supposed to run out and it sucks it up, but it didn't run out, so it sucked all of them up. Basically, is what ended up happening.
Yeah.
It was also already kind of angry because it showed up early, right?
It did show up early. Showed up real early.
So they knew something was off. So anyway, it's basically sort of like going from like the absolute earliest example of using animals for film to like extrapolating it to its like logical conclusion, which is like using a giant alien, I guess, for film.
Yeah.
But
and it's that same thing of like,
so
they're mad when the unknowable beast doesn't act the way you want it to, because we are like obsessed with like, you know, taming the predator and being like, no, it's not a predator, it's a thing we totally understand and like can control and exercise our will over. And so it's like, you know, we're even doing that from horses to giant sky beasts, where we're just like, no, it'll come when I tell it to, because I'm a human and I assume that all things
actually,
work.
So I agree, but I think there's a caveat to that, which is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
You're good. Hit
it. This is truly the worst of all the internets. I think there's a caveat to that, which is I do think that OJ knows how to handle the horse. I think the problem is that the Hollywood people don't. Like, they stick the camera in his face, and so the horse flips out and kicks something. And I think it's more about the exploitation, like the not giving the consideration that it deserves. So like Gordy could be fine somewhere else maybe, but like it wasn't trained enough, or it wasn't like they didn't have control over it. Same with the beast, obviously, like nobody was ever going to tame that. I think a horse, that was actually an example of somebody like doing the right thing. And even at the end of the movie, OJ kind of gets to that point where he's like, this is a predator, this is an animal, so we need to treat it as such. And here are the things that I know about animals and taming them. And so he actually respects it in the right way, treats it as the right thing in some ways. And so I think it's something about this, like, this exploitative nature of trying to make things and do things. And obviously, even beyond that, he's exploiting his own tragedy.
Yes.
Glenn, or
yeah.
I
think of him as Glenn from Walking Dead.
No, it's Jupiter. They call him Jupe.
Jupe. I need to get that in my head. For what I just see Glenn. I'm just like, Glenn, your eyeballs popped out.
Hey, it's Glenn. I know Glenn. No, it's like 2 points. One is, you're saying that like OJ at the end like learns how to treat it, but even then, learning how to treat it is basically, it's a predator, don't look it in the eye, leave it alone. There is no like amazing sequence where he like conquers the beast. Like it's how to treat it is leave it the F alone. Like let it do its thing. Like don't engage. And also, I thought the character of Jupiter was like really fascinating. One of my favorite weird characters in a long time, because is he exploiting what happened to him? Or is he one of those deeply traumatized people that need to take control of the narrative in any way possible? Because to have it be an act of senseless. What's that movie we watched that I like so much? Riders of Justice? Where like the girl was trying to make sense of the tragedy on the train with the mom dying. And like the whole thing was, he's just like, it's just chaos. It's just chaos. You will never find the answer. But it's like when people are like severely traumatized, you have an inclination to grasp the moment as hard as you can and go, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's funny, actually. It's actually funny that they made fun of it on SNL. It's the best sketch they've ever done. Like, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought he was fascinating. And like, sometimes I like, first of all, the stuff with all the like the being on set stuff, the Hollywood stuff was excruciating, which like you can only ever make when you have like been in those excruciating situations. Like, wow, what a masterclass in just like making sets seem as bad as they are sometimes. But also like, I see how this character came out of the brain of somebody who has been working in Hollywood for such a long time and has had to undergo so much stupid criticism and then praise and then criticism and then praise and then you're the it person and then actually we don't like your thing anymore. Like I was like, oh, like this is the creation of a person who intimately understands like fame and like the trauma of fame. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
I don't know.
yeah, because
I
what's
was
that one
very
line?
interested.
What's that one line from the old man who was making a documentary about eyeballs? Very luckily,
Oh yeah. Wait, I actually
he
wrote
had
it
that
down.
line where he was like, "Yeah, he's like, this is the dream. Like you're basically like you're chasing fame. Well, fame is the dream that you don't wake up from."
Yes, he
That
says
was
this dream you're chasing, when you're at the top of the mountain, all eyes on you, it's the dream you never wake up from.
that's like the most
Wild.
tragic moment of the whole movie, I think, because that's like Jordan Peele being like, I'd like to go back to Mad TV, please.
Honestly, that was like some Ernest Hemingway shit. That struck me deep. I was like, I'm gonna put that in my English thesis.
So I actually think you're kind of onto something, Allie. So Zach and G is asking, why was the shoe standing? And Brian and I were talking about this earlier, actually. Brian's sitting right there.
I like that you looked at him like you had a hostage in the room.
Yeah.
Brian.
And I think the point, so for people that missed it or whatever, the shoe is standing upright in the ostensibly the. Am I lagging out? What are you laughing?
No, you're good. You're good.
No, Brian.
Just
had a
keep
good
going.
Tag.
Power on.
I'm going to address this really quick. Harlan is asking, why is Allie's camera the only one in good quality? Because we are actually in New York City in the offices of the company that owns us, and yet
Well, it's because
the
that
internet is terrible.
there are 3 or 4 other websites using the same Wi-Fi that we're on to run their business, and so it's.
I don't think that's it.
It's pretty stressed.
And I'm at home. So I'm also in New York, where the internet is good often. Well, just not my house.
I have gigabit.
Jordan,
anyway, it doesn't matter.
You can complain about New York City air. You're probably going to get cancer from spending a week here, but the pizza and the Wi-Fi are fine.
Yeah. Now tell me why the shoe was standing, because I didn't get that part.
I didn't get that either.
So here's what I think to your point about it being a sort of tragedy that he doesn't know how to process. I think the shoe standing is an indicator that this is filtered through his vision, his memory of the event, because that's an impossible thing. And sometimes when you're remembering something, you're latching onto something weird. Like maybe there was something weird with the shoe, but it's impossible. And I think the monkey giving him the fist bump before he gets shot didn't happen.
Really?
I think that's an indicator of him in the moment already trying to bring some like positive spin, like, oh, there's a connection to me still. Like Gordy didn't want to kill me because fist bump. We invented because remember he's talking too about how
they invented the exploding fist bump.
Yeah, they invented that, and so it's
exploding. Gross.
That's what I said.
Yeah, no, you're right, but that's very poignant now.
And I think it's sort of more of it's the memory of the event, but literally filtered as a memory, and some of it is unreal, like some of it is not true. And I think to your point, so like when he goes back to even discuss the event, he's talking about the SNL sketch version of the event, if that makes sense. And so it is tough to know, like, okay, so what are we trying to say about that exactly? Like, what is Jordan Peele's take on all of that? Is he saying that there are people that will exploit their own tragedies because they don't know what to do? Are they doing it because that's how cynical and nihilistic the world is, that they're like, well, we can make a buck off it? Because ultimately that's sort of what OJ's doing, right? Or not, and more so Keke Palmer's character that I can't remember. I can never remember character names. I just see actors.
It was anyway. Emerald, but they called her M.
Okay. They immediately aren't like, hey, we should get out of here and take the horses and run. They're like, our only hope is to, like, essentially what the cinematographer does is like, I'm going to die to get this perfect shot, because if we leave here without getting this shot, like, we're going to financially be ruined. So we have to literally risk our lives to make money, kind of thing. There's a lot of that cynical, there's just a really like dark undercurrent of people being willing to give everything to like get some shot and get some money and whatever, rather than saying, maybe I could do something else with my horses or whatever.
There's a part where they're all having dinner before they're like going to execute the plan for real. And it's the brother and the sister, Angel, the IT guy, and the cinematographer whose name was crazy. It's like Harlan or Antler or something. So I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot it. And there's like a moment, and like Keke Palmer goes, so like we'll get the shot and it'll be like great and we'll sell it and stuff, but like it'll help people too, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
like it'll help people
Right.
to know that there's an alien and we
Yeah.
got it on film. And then everybody sort of half-heartedly is like,
Sure.
yeah. I just like, I really
Right.
loved that, because it's like, she's not wrong. It's definitely not at the forefront of their minds, but
No.
she's not wrong. And so they're kind of like, oh yeah, no, that too. That definitely too. That's part
Right.
of it. Like,
Right. That's our main motivator, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, I just think that connection to Jupe and his past and what he's doing now, because too, again, like his ranch is named after the only movie he ever did that anybody gave a crap about. Like that's he's literally taking just the couple of things that ever hit and just squeezing the ever loving crap out of them. And I think, even OJ too, to some extent, like the only thing they know is these freaking show business and horses, and like they're having to feed the horses to the freaking monster to keep the dream alive because they can't think of anything else to do with horses or their lives or anything. It is just kind of a very like if fame is the dream you never wake up from, so is ostensibly content creation or something.
Yes.
like the making of things where you're like,
I mean,
once I've
they
made something,
definitely-
I can't do anything else.
there is
Anyway.
like a part of the movie that's like very explicitly that, which is the guy from TMZ coming,
Yeah.
who like is
Yeah.
like, I don't care if I die. Where's your camera? How are you
Yeah.
not taking a picture of this right now? And that was
Right.
like, that was great. I like thought that was like really shocking. Like I was like both like disgusted and like laughing at the same time, because like it was like scary and I didn't know what was going to happen, but also like it was so absurd that like my response was to laugh, which is 100% the authorial intention there. But like it's just great. It's like, how can we prove it happened? How can we prove I was part of it? How can we prove I made a difference if I didn't film it?
Right.
And so like the whole movie is about like, how can we prove I made a difference if I didn't film it in some way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I really like that, but I do think so. Again, talking to Brian,
My hostage.
my hostage in a Brooklyn office. I will say that this is not my favorite Jordan Peele movie in a lot of ways, and it's really not the thematic stuff. I really thought once the monster starts eating people and stuff, and once you kind of get what it is, it's really good. But I do think it started pretty slow, and I do think other than nickels flying through people's eyeballs and stuff, I didn't love the characters as much as I did with Get Out, where like with Get Out, I was happy to just see people sit around and talk until the crazy things happened. And in this one, I just never cared as much as I wish that I would. Like I wish that Angel was played by Riz Ahmed, just because I got such Nightcrawler vibes from him.
Yes.
He's like,
Also, it's kind of the color of the hair and stuff too.
Yeah.
They're sort of like the same dude, the same LA dude.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I didn't dislike anything at all. And I do think it was really, really good. And obviously thematically, I think it's fascinating. It's also, it's weird how Jordan Peele in just 2 movies has gone from nobody in the world really misinterpreted Get Out. I mean, I think there was a couple of layers to it, like that made it more rich, but this one is pretty esoteric in some ways. Like you have to really, like, we're still just sort of guessing, like, why the hell is there a shoe? What does the monkey have to do with anything? And it's harder to decipher, I think, than his.
I went to go see the movie yesterday, and I like went to see it with a friend, and we like talked about it as we like walked to the train. And one thing I said was like, I don't like looking up like what did the movie mean, but there seemed to be many present threads. And and I didn't know if there was something unifying for all of those that I was just like too dumb to get and just like missed it, which is like possible, or if they really were just sort of intended as equally important but disparate like threads of a thing. And so I started to read a couple reviews, and one that I like really thought like nailed why you may or may not like it more or less than his other films without necessarily being like a criticism or a positive is that as a reviewer is named Lex Pryor, and I read it on something called The Ringer, and the quote is, "There's likely to be lots of hand waving over whether this shapelessness makes Nope a flawed or worthwhile work. Medley is an acquired taste." And I was like, because like I really like that because it doesn't say like Medley is an acquired taste and I don't like it. Like I think it like just like really kind of nails like what the movie is without assigning like good or bad to it. And I do think that this movie is that, where it's like there are quite a few narrative and also allegorical threads,
Right.
and they are all related, but it's not like so simple as like this is the thesis of Get Out, this is the thesis of Us. It's definitely a little more like medley. It's like I like think that was like such a good way of describing it. And like I think different people will identify and or jive with different like parts of it more, and like that is also like neither a strength nor a weakness. Like it's just like what the movie is. Yeah, and it's like, what's the narrative that you follow most closely? Is it like performance gone awry? Is it commodity and fame? Is it making predators and unknowable things into attraction because that's like what humans do? Is it using the otherworldly to fill holes in our life when our personal lives suck? I
just like horses.
Is it horses? Is it horses?
I think for me, it's not even that I would mind all of that. I think I just wanted a guide that I was more endeared to, taking me through all of that, I suppose. Like, again, same actor. I think he's amazing at everything he's in pretty much. But like in Get Out, everything that's happening to Chris is awesome because it's happening to Chris. And I care about everything that's happening to Chris, and everything he says, I think is like really funny and the perfect fit for everything. And honestly, even having like, is it Rod, his best friend or whatever, is such a good foil for him and all that stuff. And it's not that Nope wasn't, and I would say that Jupe is, to your point, was actually probably my favorite character because I immediately latch on to like, oh, whatever's going on with this guy, I'm very
I'd like to get into that brain. Yeah.
He felt very complex immediately and was just interesting and sad and removed. And it was really weird and really cool. And OJ just kind of like came out the gate kind of sad. And then his dad died, so he was sad more. And his sister came and he's like, I'm kind of annoyed by you. And it's not really like, none of it's like wrong. It doesn't mean that it was like bad or they should have done something different. It's one of those things when you're talking about a movie and you're trying to critique it, sometimes it's just subjective. Like, I don't know, my butt felt weird in the seat at certain points. And I can't, that's not Jordan Peele's fault. There's just something about it didn't get all of my heart in the way that once the monster starts ripping everything up and the thing really gets going, then I was having fun. Yeah. And I like the family dynamic, especially when they bring in the cinematographer. It got really fun and really interesting.
Also, but like that house being like rained in blood. It was like so poltergeist, awesome. Steven Spielberg-y. It's just, it was great. I will say, like, I do agree that like it is a bold move to make the protagonist of your film and the entry point of your film somebody who's quite closed off. It's very difficult to get into their head because they just like don't talk as much and their feelings aren't at the surface. And so like it is a more difficult job than when you're like, hey, Parks and Rec, here's Leslie Knope. She'll tell you everything. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Right. She loves everything. She'll tell you everything positive. It's very different to like start with the entry point of the movie being this person who's like dealing with grief and family issues and Hollywood drama, like all that stuff. Like for him to be a more closed off person is just a difficult narrative thread to thread.
And it's
needle to thread. I don't know.
And so it's fine, but I didn't like, my favorite part was just of his dynamic, even with Keke Palmer, was when the cinematographer brings the camera that they wanted and they're like doing the high five thing. And that felt like a more genuine emotion of like, oh, they are friends. Like they do like each other. Cause I think they played. Here's the thing: is I don't know what it is. Stranger Things really suffered from this in like the third season. I don't really like adults fighting and like being annoyed with each other all the time. There are times when that can be fun, but it's just like I don't.
Isn't every movie adults fighting?
Yeah.
No, Jordan wants adults doing karate at different levels of a hotel or whatever.
Hell yeah, that's what I want.
But karate's more of a dance than a fight.
I don't know. I think when it drags on too, I want it to be interspersed with moments of like them also liking each other. So then when the conflict's there, it's like it just took a while for me to be like, does OJ like his sister at all? Like she keeps mentioning you like me, right? And he's like,
yeah.
I think it was like
that's all.
OJ,
I don't know.
I think he had to grow up really fast. Even before his dad died, he was sort of like he was sort of the golden child, which in that particular instance, like really sucked for him as a kid. You know, like
right. I think
was the one.
He was on the set of Scorpion King with his dad when he was like, I think he said he was 12.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
Right. Yeah. So like all these horrors of Hollywood has just been this dude's reality. And that's also a weird thing too. He's got two lives. One of them is living on a ranch and feeding horses, even when there's like aliens coming and trying to kill him. And then also like having to deal with these Hollywood types and navigate all those personalities.
Yeah. I did like that. I did really like, I felt it more. And it was a little bit later, but when he's like, yeah, I got to feed the horses. Like, I'm not going to not feed the horses. Like, this is what I do. And I got that. Like when we get more of that, I thought it was pretty good. It's just, I don't know. He was just sort of nebulously sad and depressed for a while. And it just made me nebulously sad and depressed. And then again, like we got over it and we moved on, but I think it just started slower than I would have expected from.
To that end, part of
Jordan Peele.
Part of that slow start was like, they threw you a bunch of red herrings, right? Because there was like the bug on the camera. And you're kind of like, okay, did the alien creatures like send this bug to go narc and like sit on the camera? Like I thought maybe they could
imaginary like, was this movie set on Venus?
Yeah. Well, no, but like I thought
never even remotely considered the alien sent a bug to the camera. That's the craziest, most convoluted way for an alien to take out a camera. It's got freaking lasers and shit. Why would it?
At that point, we first of all didn't have lasers. But at that point, we didn't know anything about it. And I thought maybe these were bug people and they communed with bugs. And I thought they were gonna have some sort of control over nature. Okay, you think it makes more sense than just.
I want you to start writing some scripts because your ideas are so crazy.
Yeah, honestly, you should write whatever version of that movie that is because it's very interesting.
I'm gonna watch the first 30 minutes.
What you should do is, you should watch the first 15 minutes of a movie. And then finish it, and then we'll rewrite the first 15 minutes because what you have thought is so insane.
Sure.
I mean, this isn't the craziest thing you've thought, but it's just like...
Right, I agree. It's insane now that
nobody in the theater thought that except you.
Okay, now that we know that the UFO is actually a single alien who is made out of sails and it was kind of like a clam or whatever, which is not crazy at all. No, sure.
So normal.
So it's so unsatisfying to me that just randomly a praying mantis just happened to show up and sit on the camera. Also, he even says like, wow, I ain't seen one of these in a while. Like, why did it show up there? It's such a freaking slogan or whatever.
Now we should get the praying mantis on Oprah. They didn't get on Oprah, but we should get that praying mantis on Oprah. We should ask it some questions.
Thank you, Harlan. Why is everybody laughing? No, but really, that does seem very unsatisfying to me now that the praying mantis was just completely random. That's not allowed.
Well,
that's not allowed.
So the reason it happened is because they needed a problem with the camera. What would you have preferred?
Well, so if the aliens could make cameras stop working, how come they can only make one camera at a time stop working?
They're not doing it intentionally. It's just like it just does that
when it gets close enough.
Yeah. It's not because it's not a ship. It's like a freaking bat.
It's a thing.
Freaking bat.
Yeah. So okay, fine.
Hey.
Then just make.
There's my alt title. The freaking bat. I think. I don't know.
Make the big weird moth alien. Then just make that camera go out because that's one of its powers. It makes cameras stop. Don't throw bugs at it.
Yeah, but it does do that like 400 times. I think you
fine. Then 401 is enough. It's all I need.
I thought there was one.
I don't. I thought
there was one red herring and or thread that got dropped. I couldn't really tell. I was walking with
Okay.
a friend last night, and I was like, "Can you tell me your opinion on this before I make a fool of myself on a podcast tomorrow?"
Like
So,
Jesse.
in the beginning of the movie, the thing that spooks the horse that gets them fired off the Hollywood set is they hold up a big metal ball on a stick that's meant to test light refraction, and the horse spooks and it kicks and they get fired. Then he's having a little fight with Kiki Palmer, and he's like, "I got work to do." You see that he has also bought a metal ball, and you see him taping it to a stick. And I was like, this is going to come back big time in the end. This guy's going to use this to spook the alien something, something, something. Then the TMZ guy shows up, and he's got a big old shiny helmet that looks exactly like the ball on the stick.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, here we are. Here comes the payoff for the ball on the stick. No.
I think it attracted the alien, or maybe just
you think that attracted the alien and not the fact that it was a thing that was moving.
So I mean, okay, well, the first objective thing is that he has a flashback to that moment, and he realizes, don't look it in the eyes. So that's one of the payoffs.
You think that's what it is? Is that the horse saw its own eyes and was like, "Fuck me," and then it kicked?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
And I think that there's at least that OJ. I mean, I think it quite literally flashes back to that moment, and he looks down.
Yes.
So there is that. As far as the specifics of I agree with Jesse. I thought that the TMZ dude's helmet pissed off I mean, obviously, it also just killed the motorcycle and stuff. But I do think that was. I mean, his head was.
I think also his head looked like an eyeball because it had a single eye hole, which made it a pupil, right? So,
yeah, and it was completely round and shiny. It definitely was an intentional nod to
guys,
the object.
What if a grasshopper landed on his one eye hole? Wouldn't that be crazy?
I don't think that's a crazy moment. I think it's just a way to. It doesn't matter. And then, what was the other thing? I think him taping. I think he was going to try and train his horse to chill the hell out. I think that was why he was making one of his own. I think he was like, "Well, this screwed us. Maybe I should." But I mean, he never.
I should
really
train
got
them
to...
with it. See, that makes more sense to me. In my mind, it was very much like a Jaws type segment where they get back to HQ and are making the harpoon that's going to kill the thing. Do you know what I mean? To me, it felt. I thought it was alien killing time, but you might be right that it's just that he was going to take it out to the field and make sure horses don't spook on set again.
That's what I thought. I don't remember that part. I feels like the main crux of it was he remembered predators or animals don't being looked at in the eyeball. And that was kind of the main full circle of it.
Okay.
Is my guess.
I think you might be right. I think maybe I pulled a Jesse and I was like, this is going to be the alien killing machine. And I was just sort of writing my own narrative in that moment.
So pulling a Jesse is using your brain.
Yeah. Pulling a Jesse is when you write the best movie ever, even better than the one you're seeing.
And then you're perpetually let down by the actual movie that had to work within the constraints of some kind of logic somewhere.
Sure, yeah. This bug shows up out of nowhere and it just perches there for the exact right amount of time.
No, if there's a bug in a movie, it's because a freaking alien sent it. We all know that. It's a classic trope.
I want Brian, I think people in the comments are probably pro Jesse. Can you?
Oh yeah,
can you confirm? Can you confirm or deny? There you go.
Thank you, Fresh Boy JB.
What you guys are all saying? Them. It was literally. It's one.
At the time, we didn't know that it was one thing. At the time, it was still just aliens. Because again, that was another red herring. Was they had the little creepy little alien kids running around his horse barn.
Yeah,
that was another thing where you're like, oh, I guess it's gonna be little green men. Thank you, Caitlin St. John.
You just like Jesse because he's being piled on. It's just it's not a logic thing.
Sometimes you love the underdog. You gotta love the underdog.
Exactly.
I think the meaner we are about Jesse's ideas, the more
nobody's been under more dogs than me. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, Brian, our hostage.
That's it. I'm gonna chop your feet off later.
Oh my God, this is how we kill Jordan.
I mean, it's fine, but all I'm saying is that objectively, it was not sent by the aliens. Which is what your original point was, but there were a couple of people that are like, "No, I definitely think the aliens sent the bug." But
okay,
even if it isn't,
just wait a minute here. So when we find out what the alien is, this alien can like create a crowd around itself. You're very right about that. Does not equal.
Wait, what does that have to do with this?
Nothing.
It's a different thing.
In general.
It's a different show.
I was like, what did I miss? I blacked out sometime during this podcast.
He's been trying to say grasshopper, which in Japanese means I don't know.
No.
What's it mean? It means
Praying
normal,
mantis.
But anyway, but okay, so the alien in actuality can create a cloud around itself and like move around inside of a cloud. Like,
So
you
maybe
think
it
that's
can
more
control
logical than being able to? That's what kind of I thought it could control nature a little bit.
Okay,
I gotta say, Jesse's starting to sell me on this because I was like, we've never seen it control nature, and then it kind of does. It does kind of make a cloud around itself.
if
much
I
so.
could control all of nature,
I
hypothetically,
would kill you with a monkey.
It is important not to look Jordan in the eye ever.
why would I send one grasshopper to take out one camera for 2 seconds when I don't appear to know what the hell a camera is or does? Because
You're saying that you could
I'm too
summon
dumb
up
to
a
notice.
windstorm and kill it, and blow the camera
No,
off the house.
I'm saying that this thing doesn't even know the difference between a freaking fake horse and a real horse, really.
That is true.
It's just
I'm back
out
on Jordan's
there.
side. I'm back on Jordan's side.
But it's clever. It's kind of like I Am Legend, where they're like, oh, they're just crazy monsters, but they're crazy monsters that rig like mannequins to pulley systems and stuff like that. It's got to be one
I
or
don't
the
know.
other.
No, I mean, it's just like monkeys are very intelligent in very specific directions, and they're pretty dumb. Don't tell any monkeys I said this, but they can be kind of dumb in other directions. Like, this thing is reasonably intelligent, I think. And if
So, okay,
you know,
I could see. Good.
I'm wondering if so. We think it's not intentionally not being photographed. Something that huge, never being photographed until it's like intricately tricked into it. We don't think. I was still under the impression that it was figuring out how to not be spotted.
Well, it kills the power, though. I mean, even if it's not trying. I mean, I do think it's trying to hide. I think it's trying to hunt, but I don't know.
And we
that
think it kills
it's
power
like,
accidentally.
not accidentally, but just as a part of its. It doesn't turn it on and off. It just. I mean, it's literally.
It's a proximity thing.
Yeah, it's not like it's off and then it turns it on and then things die. It's you can see it coming because of all the freaking wavy dudes are dying. I mean, that's why they set them all up, right? So that they can get an approximate location. Because if it was, again, if it was smart enough to turn it off or whatever, it would just, I don't know, hold its sphincter tightly close until it got to the spot that it needed to. So
I want to say two things about the sphincter.
Yeah.
One that I liked, very unusual. It was like a black square, which very much invokes looking down the barrel of a camera.
Interesting.
It's like the gate around the camera. It's like a fancy Hollywood camera. It's also kind of like an old-fashioned sort of like back before we had like the circular lens like thing, like we had the box around it to control the light and stuff like that. Baby, there it is.
Yo, that looks exactly like an alien butthole, dude.
It looks exactly like an alien's butt/mouth, which, by the way, butts and mouths are the same when you're a jellyfish. So it actually made a lot of sense.
Yeah, back in old Hollywood, butts and mouths were all the same.
This is really good, Jesse. We have a sketch on our hands here. I feel like I'm in the movie right. I really feel like I'm in the movie right now.
Uh-oh, I'm a camera. I hope a bug doesn't land on my face.
I love it. I'm loving this. I think all comedy should be prop comedy. And then the second thing that I wanted to say is less intelligent than that, which is that poor female co-star from Gordy's Home, she had her face ripped off, and then she came out in public one time and got eaten by an alien. I felt so bad for her. I thought about her the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
What a life.
So brave of her to come out there, to show up, and
that's
also
what I'm
it's
saying.
like,
I mean, the narrative that I wrote in my head is that she's largely pretty reclusive.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, she's being so nice and she's going to support her co-star after this huge trauma that bonded them. And then she gets eaten by an alien that day. People went crazy. I remember that first season of Stranger Things. Everyone was like, justice for Barb. What about Barb? What about her? What about her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen. I like to
That's
think
funny.
that maybe she welcomed it like an Independence Day, that one, like the stripper friend that goes up to the top of the building and she's like, ah, when they open up.
Oh, I thought you were
Seemed
gonna say.
psyched.
I thought you were gonna say Randy Quaid or whatever drove up into that
Yeah, I think
into
that's
that
gonna be more
alien's butthole. But
Yeah,
but
Randy
she didn't
Quaid.
do anything. She didn't like grab a sword and fly up or something.
No, but she was just like, yeah. I guess until she died, but you know,
I don't
whatever.
know. I'll think about her for a long time. I did not like that happened to her.
That
Oh.
really did. I mean, because they lingered on that disgusting scene so long, at least a couple of times, and then to see her, that was really powerful.
That was really tough. I felt really horrible. And I'm also very claustrophobic. I'm getting all my fears out. Monkeys, small spaces. So that really, I was like, oh, I would have asked for someone to kill me while we were in there. Honestly.
What if
holes, yeah.
maybe
I would have been like,
out?
I can't be here any longer. Someone kill me. Like, nope.
You child with the little cap gun.
Yeah. I would say, just get me.
Just get me.
So we should move on to the people, but really quick, do we think that the big floaty doll killed it, or just injured it? Or...
I didn't like that because that thing's not gonna float. They're not filling that with helium.
It was floating though. It was a
No, I know, but I'm saying that it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have floated.
Literally, Macy's Day Parade every year has hundreds of those things. What are you talking about?
Wait, why don't you think it
But
could
they don't
float?
float up in the air. They hold them down so they don't get blown around. They don't just float straight up into the air.
But they
What are you talking about?
do. Do you think they're holding it up by jamming it up there?
That's true. Okay, that's fine. You got me. Okay, you're right about that. But that thing wasn't floating. That thing was tied to the ground. It just needed to be inflated so it was big.
That is true. They probably wouldn't have actually paid to fill it with helium.
Right.
If it didn't need to float. But also, we never saw the show. Maybe the big part of the show was the floaty thing.
Maybe. You think every inflated thing is inflated with helium?
If it's gonna be upright, otherwise, the thing will just flop around.
No, if you fill something with air that isn't specifically helium, it will still the gas will fill the container. That is like the law of gases. Is that like the gas will?
How do you make it stand upright when say I mean, you have to weight it, I guess, in some. How do you get it to stay upright though? I guess
they had it all rigged with
it's so
ropes
full of air that it presses out the casing, so that the casing appears taut, and so it stays upright. And then when it starts to lose air, it sags. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you see something that's filled with air and it starts to lose air, it starts being like, but like before then, it's fine.
Yeah, I think it was staying upright because it was tied.
The distribution of weight. I guess I feel like if I just inflated some random shaped object, it wouldn't necessarily stand. Like it would fall over. I guess is my like. It's not. Saying, but it's not an equally shaped balloon. Yeah, but
they had it all tied up.
Do you remember that quote from Always Sunny? It's like, that sounds false, but I don't know enough about stars to refute it. That's what I feel we're doing now. Where we're just like, that doesn't sound right, but I don't know enough about air. All I know is about balloons, and I know the laws of gases because I watched Jeopardy. That.
Yeah.
No, you don't know the laws.
I know horses and I know bugs. I don't know balloons.
Well, okay. Regardless of whether they should have filled it with helium, they did, and it looked like it killed it. I guess, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it did, but I still don't
popped. I don't know why, but I thought the balloon was being compressed by the innards, and it popped, and so it like killed it from the inside out because it like destroyed its insides, like a big serving of Taco Bell.
I just wasn't sure.
That's what I thought.
I just wasn't sure if it was super dead, and the only reason I feel like that's important is because there's no point in her taking a picture if it's going to be dead in a heap 30 feet away.
I also don't know that it's
but she got it in the air, which is a pretty big thing, because otherwise people would be like, this is a prank. Somebody left these. Banksy's at it again, leaving things that look like a thing in the desert. So like the fact that she captured it in action was, I think, very important.
Yeah, and looked very elegant in action.
That's probably.
I also am confused why it even ate the big boy anyway, because the big boy was covered in flags. which it had already learned not to consume anymore.
It had, I don't
think
know. I
it's
thought it was,
mad
I
at
thought it was that I was
flags.
looking at him in the eye like this. And that it was
Yes.
like, you talk to me?
Oh.
That's what I thought. That it was like,
I
you
think
talking
definitely.
to me? And then it ate it
But
and then died.
But I thought the whole point of like they had so much flag stuff, these trailing flags everywhere, and I thought they even said like, it hates flags now, but it's never gonna eat a flag again. So let's cover our bait in flags. I don't know, man.
She was
I
just
wasn't
cutting it free. I
sure
don't think she had a lot of time to
it
think
was-
about it.
I
Yeah,
thought
maybe.
it was mad at flags, but you're probably right. I don't know. That part is a little confusing because now I'm not even 100% sure what I think about it. I don't know.
Maybe that's
Flags,
the point is
right?
that it's maybe
Thank you.
it's the
Correct. Correct.
maybe the point is
I'm
that
a
it's not
creative.
that intelligent. It's a creature of like rage and reaction and stuff like that. So it's probably confused, but I think you're right that like very clear eye contact. It's just like, I'm just gonna eat this
Yeah. He's like, I'm walking here. And then he eats it.
Because of the Big Apple. All right, let's
of the Big
see
Apple.
what the
That's a movie that takes
people-
place at the Big
yeah.
Apple.
We're gonna go to the people and see what they say. It's a lot of alt titles. Okay,
People
you have
do
any
say this is the
films to
People's
compare it
Podcast.
to? In the horror genre, what would you subgenre it as? It was mentioned that it isn't really an escape the house type of film.
No.
Obviously not at all. Yeah. What would you say?
I mean,
It's sci-fi horror.
Home Alone.
we have talked about this before, but I forgot the answer. Jordan has never seen Jaws.
Mm-mm.
This movie is Jaws.
Ooh.
Okay.
Like with love. I'm not saying like, oh, Jordan Peele ripped off Jaws. Like I think like he was like, he's like saying like, I can make Jaws too. Like here's new Jaws. Jaws 2, more Jaws.
Yeah.
And like, but like it has a lot of similarities in that it's like
Wow.
the big unknowable beast, our desire to control it. We want to go about life as normal, but it's getting in the dang way of our life. Like, and then there's like the whole like hunting it aspect. There's the computer genius who reappears, who's like, you're not going to get very far without me, the guy who can track it. There's the scientist who's obsessed with it, who gets eaten by the beast because he went one step too far. Sorry, I'm spoiling Jaws for Jordan. There's like a lot of Jaws similarities here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then let's just say that. I don't disagree. I didn't have a better answer for that. So Jaws. It's like Jaws. Trevor Finley told me a million things that I should do and be locked places. One of which is to watch Mission Impossible.
Don't say that. Jordan will never
Someday.
leave. He will be there forever. Don't say that. They still got Shelley Miscavige or whatever. Now they're gonna get me for saying that.
Jordan is held together by his thetans. If he loses a single thetan, he's just gonna collapse.
I've been saying that. So the Jinx offers an alternative thing of the shoe. Well, it's not necessarily alternative, but maybe it's another way to look at it too. Is the shoe is to solidify the idea of spectacle, and because he was looking at that spectacle instead of the monkey. Although I will say, a monkey beating the shit out of people is a bit more of a spectacle to me than a shoe standing upright.
But it is
So
like a
I
thing
don't
about
know.
like
I
when
mean-
you are, your brain does weird stuff when you are in like a very traumatic situation, and it like very
Oh, yeah.
purposefully sort of focuses in on things or doesn't focus in on things, and like people will tell stories about like having like a really like horrible home invasion, and all they remember is like what the tile looked like when they were laying on the floor, and that's like all they remember. And it's like this is like a very common thing that like your brain is doing it on purpose. It's like building the cushion, because like it's like you won't be able to live and like process if we don't start cushioning now. And so like people forget large portions of events, and like that's why like testimony shit is always so weird, where people be like, I don't remember. And people be like, well, if it was really bad, you'd remember. It's like, actually, if it's really bad, you wouldn't remember. Like that's like on purpose. Like your brain like fucking does that. I don't know. I'm off topic, but brains.
No,
Again,
yeah, I think you're right.
Me talking with a very small understanding of science, just being like, yes, anyway, science. Sorry.
Well, all I'm saying is that for the purposes of from Jordan's perspective, I don't know if the shoe itself solidifies all of spectacle. I mean, I just to say that that's a spectacle that was more exciting than the monkey murder is sort of a little iffy to me. But it's not bad idea necessarily or wrong idea because I don't know anything about anything. Trevor Finley says that Get Out was award-winning. Us was serious Rick and Morty, which is weird. And Nope was a sci-fi TV movie story. I don't know. Maybe. Sure.
I mean, it's a very different.
I don't know what to say about it.
It's also just like it's like a monster hunt movie. If you're asking for like a subgenre, and so
Yeah.
like if that to you feels more like a sci-fi TV like Sharknado-y type thing, then cool. That's what it feels like to you. But I do think that is the genre, and I think whether or not that genre is for you,
I would say it's like
Yeah.
it's like Pokemon Snap the movie.
Oh. No, we're going to move on from that. I'm not even going to. I'm just kidding. You're actually not wrong. It's just hard to root for someone named OJ, says Zach and G. Undeniable.
it was a very funny joke.
It is an
When that
interesting
like
name.
sort of out of touch older white actress was like, "Your name is OJ." That was a very funny moment.
Yeah. Fresh Boy JB, which is my alter
We're
ego,
back.
says, I thought it was a bug sent by them too.
Yeah, Jesse's burner account.
Well, sounds like you're also done,
Jesse
Fresh Boy.
Weisman?
Jesse Weisman.
Nope was a Jordan Peele movie. This is a Jordan Breeding feature. Jordan versus Jordan. Coincidence? Great thoughts. Thank you for starring that, Brian. I made this podcast much better. How do we feel about directors reusing the same actors? I think it's great.
Get
I
fresh
love it.
actors in there.
No, I love it. I like love when a director becomes like obsessed with an actor and is like, "You're gonna be in everything." I think that's so cool. And then, like, obviously, it's like every actor's fucking dream. And so imagine being like the person that Jordan Peele's like, "Yeah, you. I like you." I mean, come on. However, I want to just say for the record, I would risk it all for Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer, I know you're not watching this because you've got way better things to do. But if this gets back to you in some way or another, I just need you to know I live in New York City. And I would risk it all for you. Thank
The
you.
pizza sucks and the Wi-Fi is bad, but Allie's got a lot of other things to offer besides those things.
My Wi-Fi is great in my apartment. So if you're looking for a place to hook up to Wi-Fi, you can just come over anytime.
Just don't come to Literally Media headquarters. Jellyfish can't burp. Just apparently that's a thing. That sounds like
that makes
another
sense.
science guy just making a science point, but who knows?
Well, yeah. Can they fart?
Meh.
I guess
I don't know.
I guess burps a lot of times are from the air that you ingest while you're swallowing, right? And if you're underwater,
Yes.
you're not swallowing a whole ton of air.
Underwater.
Or you could burp.
Oh, because we're talking about real jellyfish. Sorry, I was like, he's in the sky. I don't know. I thought you had another insane theory. Sorry.
But when you think about it, the air is like water
The
to
sea
us.
of the air is the sea of the sky.
It's like a sea
I'm
for
not
bugs.
gonna lie. I watched that grasshopper for like 10 minutes before I realized it was not a jellyfish. Anyone else? Anyone else?
I was trying to find.
Okay.
He doesn't
Well, I
have a
just
mouth.
know-
He doesn't have a butt.
That's a jellyfish. Elijah Snow says it's territorial and another large creature in the air attacks it. So regardless of flags, it's going to eat it. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's what I
but
thought.
I
That
think-
it was,
but
it
I
was
think-
in its space.
But to Jesse's point, what the flags are, there's a reason that there are flags. And so it's a little unclear. Are we to believe that it cares so much it's willing to forget about flags or what? Or is it pissing it off? Jaws is to Nope what Rocky 3 was to The Dark Knight Rises.
Hold on, I need to do some math in my head.
Do
I
you
don't
know what
think
this means? When you
Ask your hostage.
flagged it? Rocky 3 is not one that immediately comes to mind. And I know that
But
Dark Knight Rises was the worst of the trilogy.
Wait,
So
but I think what
that's
they're
bad.
saying is that if Jaws is sort of like a proto Nope, then Rocky 3 is the like source of inspiration for Dark Knight Rises, but I don't think I see how. Do they both crawl out of a large pit at some point?
I think they both go, Adrian, if I'm I don't know.
Yeah, I
haven't
actually
seen
remember
Rocky
Marianne
3.
Cotillard being like, Adrian, and then she died. I remember
She was
that.
like, don't box anymore. I hate it when you box.
I
It's
hate
like,
it when
I
you
really, I can't.
You know, I was
Can't do
just
that.
reading that Nope was actually inspired by A Bug's Life.
Stop.
Because I wrote that in my notes app. Then
Okay,
I read it.
I could defend that thesis because in A Bug's Life, at the end, it's all about utilizing the predator, the bird, to kill the bad grasshopper, who's like the villain, and it's like nature. It's like utilizing nature as a. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm sorry,
For
I was
your
an
own
English major,
ends,
so I can
yeah.
justify anything.
I'm
I
an
can make
English major,
anything
too.
a
Oh,
5-page paper. So
Try
you know,
World War II. Justify that, huh?
Nazis, they're bad.
justify
stop
that,
them.
huh? Anyway, so I don't know. I'm
All
actually
right.
gonna get on the Bugs Life thing with you. I'm gonna get on hardcore.
There's still
Gross.
room on this
All right,
train. Anybody
so-
wants to get on?
We're gonna do alternate titles. You ready? Zach MG says or I suppose. That is another.
Yeah.
That's another way to say nope. This is one of my favorites so far. Several people suggested it, but Don't Look Up.
So I
It's
had a
pretty
weird
good.
little theory in my brain that is completely and totally not based in reality. This is me being Jesse. Enough people say "Don't Look Up" in the movie that I was like, I wonder if an early draft of this movie was called "Don't Look Up," and then they were like, ah, shit. Well, it's not called that
damn.
anymore.
What else do people say?
I don't
Monkey.
know.
Grasshopper,
No.
grasshopper, but then
Grasshopper. Hey, there's a bug on your
Monkey.
camera. No.
Gordy, stop pounding me. Damn it, everybody's saying
Yeah, good
that.
title.
Lucky. Jean jacket. No. No, that's very interesting. I
Oh.
like that theory.
Yeah, that's good. I like this one.
UFNope. I literally have in my notes UFNope. So
That's good. I really like that. I think those are both big winners.
I think mine was a little better. Just kidding.
Wow.
Hmm?
JH Maximus? Is that Joe Maximus? Joe, what's up? Are you still watching? Hey, Joe. I know Joe.
What's
and
up,
Joe.
Joe?
Is this another one of your hostages? You can tell
Hey,
us.
what's
Yeah.
What's up, Joe?
I'm like, Joe, what's up? How did you get access to internet? I thought we had taken that away from you in the basement.
Mhm.
Um,
I thought the alien had turned off all your power.
All right. Are you guys ready? Because we're about to see anime titties 5 times in a row. Because
Yes.
Brian
yes.
seems pretty drawn to it for some reason. I don't know why. Just sort of like, oh my God,
Like a
great
moth?
point. Good. Just a lot of good points from this avatar.
There are some good points being
Um,
raised here. We should see another one of their points.
One. No. Hold on. Oh, Rocky's defeated in the first act, has to rebuild himself without his mentor. Yeah, but that's every movie. That's not Rocky 3. They didn't invent you lose at the beginning, but then you get better, and then you win. Holy shit, this movie's crazy. You guys see Rocky 3?
I'm trying to think of other movies that like very famously did that before. I don't know. I guess it's a famous trope. Oh, we're back to the same comment again, just to see the titties at this point, I assume.
Yeah. Brian's like, just whatever we can find. I'm just going to throw it up. All right, so Galacticus, the Horse Whisperer. I think that's a comic book thing, but I have
know.
kids.
Sorry. I was too busy
Out
learning
there
about the
doing
the
it.
theories of air pressure to read comic books.
Slurper.
That's good.
I like Slurper.
That's Slurper. Chicken Little.
Huh.
That's
But
good.
I feel like, is there a play on that though? Like Horse Big or Zardoz 2, the Super Sucker. Again, a reference to a film that I
Sorry.
haven't actually seen, but I know that he's in a tiny little man thong in that film. How are we getting? We just got like 50 more viewers, and at the very end of this freaking. Is it because of the anime titties? Is Brian
Keep it
doing
up.
something that I
It
didn't
could be.
think about? Predator versus Exploiter. Feels a little on the nose, but I like it.
Big fan, anime titties. Big fan.
Also, not a bad title.
Big fan, anime titties.
Okay, and then Gone with the Wind is our final from
Nice.
Zach and G.
I really like that too. I don't,
Um,
spoiler alert, have any. So I like yours.
Oh,
cool.
right.
Yeah, what do you got, Jesse?
okay. Let's see here. All right. Or no. Oh, okay. Here's okay. Okay, ready? Dap.
Yep.
Bug's Life,
Of course.
biblically accurate mollusk, and horse got plenty of holes.
I did like
got
that quote
holes.
in the very beginning of the movie that was like, "I'll make you a terrifying spectacle" or something like that.
I didn't understand exactly what that meant
It
in retrospect.
it was like I wish I could remember the exact
It's
quote.
like I'll cover you in shit and make you unpalatable and stuff.
Yeah, but it was like, it specifically had the word like spectacle or something like that. Like it had like a word that like could have a good connotation, but like was like very much like intentionally being used badly to say like you'll that it will be a cause of suffering. I wish I could
Yeah.
remember. I'm sorry, I didn't do my homework.
I forgot about that part too.
Or no.
Oh, no. All right. That's it. We should be done. Jesse, where can we find you?
Hey, find me on Twitter at Eisemann, Eisemann.
Allie.
I'm at Miss Alice Nutting on Twitter and all the other places. If you are Kiki Palmer and Kiki Palmer only, I'll tell you my address. Everybody else,
Ooh.
get out of here.
Yep. Kiki Palmer, I would shake your hand as well, I suppose. You can find me at _J_breeding. Also, you make cracked videos on occasion. And do you want to watch all that stupid ass jazz next week? You want to die on that hill?
We're gonna watch all that jazz? Are we really gonna
If you-
do it? Don't tease me.
I've
Don't
never
say
seen
we're
her
gonna
so
do it and then not
happy.
do it.
No, let's do it. I mean, it's on.
We could also
Tubi
do another
or-
one of my favorite movies about horses freaking out because they know about the sky falling, which is Melancholia.
I don't want to. You get one every season. No, I'm just kidding. So, do you want to do all that dumbass?
I
jazz?
mean, I want to do all that jazz, but if you're mean to me about all that jazz, I will kill you.
Well, we don't know if I'm going to be upset or not, but it is an old movie. Which
It's
I
not that
typically-
old.
50 years?
It sounds like
You're
one
gonna
of our
be 50 one
childhood.
day, and your kids are gonna be like, "You're old," and you're gonna be like, "I'm not that old," and you're gonna
No, you don't understand. Step Brothers is a classic.
Yeah, you're gonna remember this conversation, and I want you to feel bad. Where all that jazz heads at? Rise
Jazz
up,
head, sound off.
jazz heads, rise up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
warmed up
Yeah,
by
boys.
Jay's hands. All right. Great. So we'll watch that next week. And also we're live streaming every Thursday at 4 p.m. So come here to hear just me eviscerate all that jazz. And for Jesse to say, I got halfway through this movie and I thought we were talking about heavy metal and going to space.
I noticed the bug in this movie, and I think there's more to it.
I would like to hear your theories about what's happening in all that jazz for sure.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll have some theories.
And also, this is called Cracked Movie Club, and we exist on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and things like that. If you don't want to see the horrible Wi-Fi that we have in this place, and I'll put a link in the description where you can suggest movies for us that we may or may not watch. And that's it. We're gonna say goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Thanks, folks.
Bye for now.